Hi everyone, my name is Tam Antaras. I'm CFO of Bibliotech, a company I co-founded with my two friends from university, David Sherwood and Daniel Engelke. Now we started Bibliotech roughly 3 years ago in London, and we've since expanded across to North America with an office in Chicago. But the three of us are originally actually from Perth in Western Australia. Has anyone heard of Perth or been there? Can I see a show of hands? Okay, quite a few, very nice. So Perth and London are like polar opposites, right? You have Perth on the one end, very isolated city, beautiful beaches, amazing weather year round, and then London on the far end of the spectrum, very well connected, zero beaches and very poor weather. But the one thing that they share in common, and in fact any major city in the world, is that all students at university, I think, feel and think, in such a digital age, why are we still using print textbooks? And I remember I had the same experience at university when I looked down at my phone and thought, all my consumption of content, be it news, music, or video, was very much done, through my phone or through my laptop, digitally. And what's more is that the experience I was having was both aggregated and personalized, right? So for instance, if I opened up my Apple News app, I had access to thousands of stories from a range of different publications, and I wasn't funneled into, reading about any one subject area, nor was I restricted to reading from any one different publication. And I remember comparing that to the way I went about my studies, right? I was a physics undergraduate at the time, and if I wanted to learn about, say, Maxwell's equations, I was typically restricted to reading from the book that my professor had assigned to me, so that was the first port of call. But obviously there was a lot of books out there which had their own sets of definitions and examples and sets of solutions. And if I wanted to access them, I was free to go to the library or to go to the bookstore to access them, but I felt that whole process was very inefficient and quite archaic. And in fact, it's the same way my parents went about studying and my grandparents before them. And this was really the spark that set, myself and my co-founders off all those years ago. So we wanted to revolutionize the way that students engage with their educational content. So Bibliotech is a platform which allows students with access to all their content online, on any device and at any time, the ability for a student to search across their content, highlight, annotate, and reference with the click of a button, even to convert the book into audio so they can listen to it on the go. We wanted to fundamentally improve the way the students both discovered their information, right, their content, as well as how they consumed it. And we built a search engine that allows a student, we built a search engine which allows a student to search across the entire library and pull out the most relevant definition, explanation, or figure. And we're doing some things with machine learning to actually personalize the results, right? So to boost results depending on their relevancy. We look at things like, what is the past preferences of the student? Do they prefer a definition over an example? Looking at cohort analysis, so what are the students' peers looking at? What time do they spend, what books do they spend time reading in? And obviously, what experience does the student have, right? Are they a first-year student, in which case you'd want more basic topics or generalized topics to be returned? Or they're a third-year student, in which case you'd want more advanced topics. Now, as well as improving the student experience, we're also catering to the needs of our institutional partners. All the data we're collecting on how the students interact with the content and where they're spending their time is obviously very valuable to our institutions. We allow them to visualize the students' engagement and thereby improving retention to be able to flag students who are at risk of dropping out. And also building out a set of features which allow the professor to engage more meaningfully with the student. All this data is obviously very valuable to our publishing partners as well. So imagine being able to show a publisher a heat map of a textbook and show, all right, chapter 5, you're actually getting a systematic drop-off in readership. That's obviously a red flag to the publishers and think, okay, perhaps this chapter is no longer relevant, we need to take it out. Or it needs to be reworded in such a way in order to improve readability. We're proud to say that we work with all the major publishers across the globe, and we have over 2,000 publishers signed up to date. Our catalogue spans all subject areas, right? So from medicine to law and from the arts to the sciences, and we have over 500,000 books on the platform right now. We're a B2B company and been growing at roughly 30% month on month, and are very proud to be working with some of the world's leading institutions across the UK, Europe, as well as the US. The educational content market is absolutely massive. So there's a recent PwC report that came out last year estimating the spend on both print and digital textbooks, and it estimated the global spend of $65 billion across K-12, higher education, as well as professionals. But the really important thing to note here is that over 90% of that spend is still in print, and that's where the opportunity lies. We're a highly ambitious group with a senior sales team with deep industry expertise, and we're backed by venture fund Oxford Science Innovation, as well as advised by ex-CEO of CourseSmart, Sean Devine, and ex-CEO of Pearson UK, Mark Anderson. If you'd like to learn more, please come and talk to me afterwards. We've actually just opened up our Series A, and you can reach me by this email. Thank you for listening. Cheers.